This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast, with original independent science fiction, written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I have Chapter 27 of The Adventures of Alibi Jones Chronological Omnibus presentation of the second novel in the Alibi Jones series, Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her. Unfortunately, Alibi Jones's escape plan is not working. His help, Brady Thomas, the bounty hunter, is now dead. Their group weren't able to reach the ship they were going to escape off-planet aboard, and now the spaceport is on a temporary lockdown. Luckily, Katie Ramsey knows Kismet and says she has somewhere they can lay low for the moment until things cool back down again. Hopefully, it will be a safe place to hide from Lavalure and his people, until Alibi, Katie, and Kit can, again, head to the spaceport, try to get to Thomas's ship, and get off Kismet. We'll see if they can stay out of sight in Chapter 27 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her, coming up on Glow in the Dark Radio. Well, it's our last week of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. I know people listen from all around the globe, which is very cool. But yes, here in Burlington, Vermont, last week of summer, some kids already back to school this week. Labor Day is early this year in the States, too. It's coming up on Monday, the 1st. So if you're in the States and celebrating the long weekend, I hope you have a great long weekend. I want to thank patrons for their support. And I want to thank you if you are a patron, because you keep me going here. You help keep the glow on. Help keep me glowing. Sorry, I can't resist that one. And if you want to help out too, I would love to have you as a patron. You can go to Patreon, patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. I have 3 different tiers you can support at: $2 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month. And you help pay for the hosting, help pay for the web pages, and basically keep the podcast paying for itself so I can afford to do it. So many thanks to my patrons. And again, to get on board with us, just go to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. Up next, we will get into Chapter 27 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on Glow in the Dark Radio.
The Flash Pulp Podcast. 3 to 10 minutes of fiction brought to you thrice weekly. Now it's 3 apocalypses in one.
Yeah!
Suffering from tough, stuck-on humans? Well, 20 hellish hours of suffocation in the all-encompassing web of Karwick the Spider God will get them right out. Too many brains lying around? The ravenous mouths surrounding zombie-fighting Ruby will quickly clean those up. Nosy neighbors? Infect them with the murder plague, and watch as they dissolve into paranoid maniacs bent on the preemptive assassination of their friends and family. Why stop at one end of the world when you can have all 3? You can find them all at flashpulp.com or search.
Now here's Chapter 27 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on Glow in the Dark Radio.
What is this, a closet? Alibi asks. Yeah, a safe closet, Katie says. Kit gags. Hairball? Alibi jokes. No, you smell bad. It is a discomfort for me to breathe in your odor in such a close space, Kit says. Sorry, Alibi says. He laughs. Why are you laughing? Katie asks. I was thinking of something funny, Alibi responds, a defensive edge in his voice. What? Katie presses. Kit chokes back and stifles another gag. Was thinking of when I first met Kit, Alibi explains. We met in a Tech-Ta jail cell. The Tech-Ta thought the Dakhur ate humans, but I was unappetizing to Kit. He said I smelled like sweaty, stinky meat. And you smell worse now, Kit says, raspier than usual. It is a smaller space, Alibi says in defense. Could you both please stop whining? Katie snaps. Jeesh. Seems like a long time ago, Alibi says. About 2 years, Kit says. A great deal has happened since. That's an understatement. Alibi trails off as the memory of Kit's disrupted joining erupts fresh in his mind. An uncomfortable silence ensues. After a moment, Alibi and Katie both try to speak at the same time. So how? I think they stop. Silence. Again. This time it's broken by Kit. Katarina, when can we leave this small space? Soon, Kit, I promise. We can't be out in the apartment while my roommate is home. She reports to well, she rats me out to her superiors, let's just say. But she'll be gone soon. Good, Kit says. I need to breathe. They sit in uncomfortable silence. Finally, after another hour, Katie signals that it's time. I heard her leave about 10 minutes ago, she tells them, but I wanted to wait, to be sure she was really gone. I think we're safe now. She smiles for the first time. Let's get out of this closet. Kit erupts from the small space like a fur geyser, pushing out past Alibi and Katie to breathe in air that's been less used. Alibi and Katie move a little slower than Kit. In a moment that would be comical were it not so tense, the two almost block each other as they try to leave the closet simultaneously. Alibi backs off. Go ahead, he says. She glares at him for good measure, but then goes out the door. He follows her out of the walk-in closet, through her bedroom, out into a living space where Kit stands, panting. Katie turns on an info screen. As it floats in front of her, she calls up news feeds and external cameras. There's a line, but it's moving, she says. What? Alibi asks. The port, Kit asks Katie. Yeah, it looks like it's opened back up, Katie says. Do you have access to a transport? Kit asks her. I think so. Hey! Alibi protests. What is wrong? Kit asks. The man Brady Thomas is dead. Your plan was no longer operative. Alibi grows sullen. We still have his ship, he says. He holds up the code key. We still have to get there, Katie points out. She turns back to the screen and flips through some selections. Marlin. He owes me. We'll use his cab. She engages a connection on the screen. Marlin? Marlin's dark-featured face appears, floating in the air in front of Katie. His eyes grow wide as he sees his caller. Oh, hello, Katie. What a surprise, my girl. Don't my girl me, Marlin. You know better, she jokes. He frowns. If you're calling me, it can't be good, Marlin says. He shakes his head. I want to collect on that favor you owe me, Katie says. Was afraid of that. You owe me, she insists. What do you need? He asks her. Need your cab, Katie says. I need a ride to the port for me and my friends. That sounds like a smaller favor than I expected to repay, Marlin observes. His brow scrunches as he thinks. You can't use it again, you know, he cautions her. Even if this is not as big as the favor you did me. It is one and done, all right? He stares at her through the connection. Who are your friends? Don't ask me that. It's part of the favor, she tells him. He rolls his eyes in response. Stop it, she raises her voice at the man. You owe me. Fine. Where's your cab now? She asks. On the way to the port. Got stuck in line when they did a security lockdown. It's moving now, though. Looks like the traffic is flowing again. How soon until it's back here? Whoa, Katie, it's booked this afternoon.
You owe me, Marlin, she presses. Tell whoever it is the cab's still stuck in port traffic.
Okay, he says, and he shakes his head. Okay, I can probably have it waiting for you down by the vehicle pool in about a half an hour.
Thank you, Marlin, Katie says, sounding too sweet.
We're even after this, he replies. Bye, Katie.
His face disappears from the screen. Katie turns to Kit and Alibi. You heard the man, she says. We've got a ride. How are we going to get down to the vehicle pool? Alibi asks. Walk? Katie offers. Alibi hears the sarcasm. They leave Katie's quarters 15 minutes later. Alibi follows Katie while Kit pads along behind him. Alibi is surprised by the squalor of some of the servants' quarters. Katie notices his reaction as they walk through a rundown stretch of corridor. Some people just give up, she tells him. Stop taking care of themselves. End up in sections like these. Get hooked on something. If you know you're never going to be able to work your way off of Kismet, out of debt to La Valor, why not find other ways to escape?
You seem to have done all right, Katie, Kit observes, offering a compliment.
I got here late, she says, and I like to read. My escape. Speaking of escapes, Alibi quips, let's keep moving. Slave quarters creeping you out, Allie? Katie asks.
May I ask you something? Kit interjects. You seem often to seek to injure Alibi with your words, Katie, Kit says. I see there will be no joining between you two. This is evident. But why have you grown so hostile towards him?
Alibi looks back at Kit after he asks, and bumps into Katie, who has also stopped to look back at the Catman. Alibi looks at Katie with an I told you so look. Don't give me that look, Alibi, she snaps at him. She looks next to Kit. He won't leave me alone, Kit, she says, trying to explain and answer the alien. I'm trying to rescue you, Alibi protests. You were my guest with me at the wedding when they took you. It's not like I'm some stalker. We were together for a little while there. It was a fun year, sometimes, she admits, and I don't want to stay here, now that I can go. I want to leave. She turns and begins walking, again leading Alibi and Kit down the corridor.
I do not understand your answer, Katie,
Kit says. Your head'll explode if you keep trying to figure her out, Alibi warns him. I can advise you that, as a male of any species, it's best not to try to understand human women. That's sexism, Katie says. No, it isn't, Alibi insists. Fact. Your understanding might be limited, she admonishes him. You shouldn't generalize that way. Alibi doesn't even try to answer her. They walk in silence for the next 2 minutes. Katie stops and holds up her hand as they reach a sealed airlock door. This is the quick way down, she says. A shortcut through the oldest part of Kismet. We're going to have to be careful. Keep your eyes open for guards. She punches access codes into the airlock's control panel, and the heavy door opens. The corridor ahead is dark. Hold the door open, Katie says to Alibi. Stand in the doorway so it stays open. We need the light. He glares at her for a moment, but complies. He watches as she and Kit make their way into the shadows until he loses sight of them in the darkness. Whoosh! Alibi hears another door slide open. Light floods into the corridor from an opening at the other end. Come on, Alibi! Katie calls to him down the hallway. He jogs down the corridor as the door behind him slides shut. Katie stands in the doorway ahead, keeping it open for him. Thanks, he says as he passes her, a hint of sarcasm in his voice. She glares at him. He smiles to try to diffuse her flash of anger. Let's go, we're almost there, Katie says. She leads them to another old airlock. She stops and looks at Kit, and then at Alibi, before speaking. I know you, Alibi, she says, and you're not going to like what you see on the other side of this door. But it is what it is. Try to ignore it as we walk through. Won't take but a couple minutes. Why? Alibi asks. What's here? You'll see, she responds, without really answering his question. He sees. The Kismet brothel's main room is on the other side of the airlock. Though the ceiling feels low, the room is broad and wide. Crimson, orange, and amber silks and lurid pornographic tapestries break up the space and cover the walls. As he walks into the room, Alibi feels the floor give underfoot.
He looks down. The carpet is blood red, lush, and cushioned. He bounces a little as he walks, but there's no real spring in his step. The rest of the room gives him a heavy heart. There are women and young girls and boys wearing little or nothing, lounging on sofas scattered around the room. Alibi walks by a fat tourist, sizing up 2 teenagers, the man's plump hands heavy on the girl's hips. Another pretty young thing is wearing cuff, chains, and manacles, and nothing else. When Alibi sees her, their eyes lock. She gives Alibi a smoldering stare and a hip thrust, her hand plunging down between her thighs. Alibi feels his cheeks get hot as he looks away. "You're blushing," Katie blurts out. "You're such a cute little prude." "Shut up," he responds. "I just wasn't raised to be this open about it." "You're still good in bed, Allie," Katie says. "Shouldn't really call you a prude, I guess." "Oh, man," Alibi says. He can't help himself. There's no way the little girl he almost just stumbled over should be used for sex. She's just not old enough. She sees him looking at her. "Do you want me?" the girl asks. Alibi ignores her and walks past. He hears Katie chuckling ahead of him. She keeps walking a bouncing walk across the room, leading Alibi and Kit behind her.
"Am I wrong to note that this place is disturbing?"
Kit asks. "This isn't..." Alibi struggles for words. "This isn't normal human behavior, Kit." "Not for you," Katie says. "A guy like Lavalor lives a whole different kind of normal than you do, Alibi. So does his clientele. Doesn't make it normal," Alibi insists. "Shh," Katie quiets him. "Stop attracting so much attention." Alibi doesn't say anything in reply. He tries not to look at the girls around him as they finish crossing the space. He and Kit follow Katie in silence. "Here," she says. She pulls aside a tapestry with Dakhur and human figures painted on it, featuring a graphic depiction of interspecies intercourse. Kit looks at the tapestry with his head slightly tilted.
"That is not an anatomical possibility,"
Kit observes. "Might be here," Katie says. "Lavalor has surgeons who specialize in cyber enhancement." Kit lets out an angry hiss.
"This place is wrong," the Catman declares.
"Well, then it's good we're leaving," Katie says. She opens a manual hatch that had been hidden by the offensive tapestry. It's a small maintenance hatch, a rounded square access about 3 feet across, mounted about waist high in the outer wall. Through the hatch past Katie, Alibi sees a ladder built into the wall. Katie climbs through the hatch and starts down the ladder. "Go ahead," Alibi says to Kit. The Dakhur slinks past and nimbly springs up and through the hatch. Alibi follows soon after. He grabs the ladder. Once he has solid footing on the rungs, he swings the hatch shut behind him. "Spin the door handle so it closes," Katie calls up. Alibi turns the round door handle, hearing clicks. Alibi turns around carefully in the narrow shaft, maneuvers so he's facing the ladder, and then climbs down.
"No light. Smells musty. This access doesn't seem to have been used in a long time."
"Hey," Alibi hears Katie say next to his ear from the other side of the shaft. "There's another hatch over here, Alibi. Sorry, still no lighting. Follow the sound of my voice." Alibi reaches out across the small space. His hand hits Katie in the head. "Ow, my eye! You poked me in the eye, dummy!" She chastises him. Then she grabs his arm. Alibi almost loses his balance as Katie tugs him. He lets go of the ladder and, pushing off with his legs, throws himself across in her direction, grabbing at the edges of the hatch as she pulls him through. It's not graceful, but he manages to fall through on the correct side of the hatch, sprawling out on the floor. The room is humming. A low but audible vibration fills the space, fills Alibi's ears, resonates in his teeth and bones. "What's that noise?" he asks Katie. "We're in the middle of the power plant," she explains.
"I feel like my fur is standing on end," Kit says. "It is not a very efficient system if there is this much residual energy leaking."
"Come on," she says. She opens another old-style hatch on the other side of the small dark room, and light pours through. Alibi and Kit follow her out into a more modern-looking corridor. When they close the hatch behind them, the humming subsides, but doesn't completely disappear. "How did you know about that access?" Alibi asks her. "They tried putting me in that harem room upstairs when they first got their hands on me," she tells them. "I found my way out, repeatedly. That hatchway was one of my escape routes. But we're not done yet, come on." She leads them down the corridor. Alibi walks into her as she stops short before an intersecting corridor. "Shh," she cautions. "Lava lore." "Here?" he asks. She nods. Alibi looks around her and glimpses the big man a short way down the connecting hallway, amid 5 or 6 of his security guards. Alibi pulls back around the corner before he can be spotted. Alibi, Katie, and Kit retreat back from the intersection. "We need to go that way," Katie says, sounding a little discouraged. "It's the way to the vehicle pool."
"Lava lore is here?"
Kit asks. The other two nod. Kit grows angry. The Catman's eyes narrow. His back arches slightly, and he rises up onto the balls of his feet, shifting into an apparent attack mode.
"I will kill him now."
"Kit," Katie cautions in a whisper, "you'll get killed first." "Shit," Alibi curses. "Maybe we can just kill him." "Did you see the guards all around him?" Katie asks.
"I see guards everywhere,"
Kit says ominously.
"We can kill them as well."
"I don't think that plan's going to work," Katie says. Alibi thinks for a moment.
It's all gone to hell. Brady Thomas is dead. His ship is out of reach at the port. We might be able to get there in a cab, if we can get out of the belly of the beast here, and get past the beast himself out there. Fuck.
He looks around. The humming walls give him an idea.
Time for a new plan.
That was Chapter 27 of Alibi Jones and the Sunrise of Her on Glow in the Dark Radio. Well, it's all gone to hell, Alibi Jones thinks. But he also thinks he has a new plan to escape. We shall see, coming up on our next episode, and in the next chapter, Chapter 28, Part 1. It's a long chapter, we're going to divide it in 2. Coming up next week on Glow in the Dark Radio, on our next episode. Again, a big thank you to patrons who help keep Glow in the Dark Radio glowing. And if you want to become a patron, head to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And you can do that for $2, $5, or $10 a month. And many thanks to you if you already do. You know who you are. Last unofficial week of summer, end of summer unofficial with Labor Day coming up. Hope you have a good long weekend. And that is all for this week. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2025 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NC-ND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.